Hello, hello, everybody. How are you guys? I hope you guys are good. Hope you're having a great morning. All right. Those of you that are returning, thank you guys so much for being here. Those of you that are new, welcome in. All right. So I have Julie here with me, and we are talking about the Sebastian Rogers case.
I can't see the chat. Is that okay?
Oh, you can't?
I don't no. This is private chat, comments, chat with everybody in the studio.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can see it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Got it.
Hello, everybody in here. All right. So I did call in to your show before we came on here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a couple of things that I did want to talk about. So I know that Ellie, now to go on with this discussion, I know that Ellie has said, let me ask you this. How do you feel about Green Hoodie? Do you think from the Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah, I actually do have an opinion about Green Hoodie. I think Green Hoodie is a part of this, and I think it's too. Green Hoodie is totally sus. I don't care what anybody else says. That person is sus. I think the fact that just because they talked to Green Hoodie in December, and I've heard them say, this person is somebody who just had a hard life or something. Well, Sebastian went missing in February. A lot of things can happen in a person's life between February and December. Mm-hmm. So if they didn't talk to Green Hoodie for months and months until, once after the Texas Roadhouse video came out,
right?
I don't think you could blow them off, totally. And I have said, for the record, I don't think that should Sebastian have been put to, made to sleep, sedated, right? I don't think I have two autistic children, right? Two boys who are autistic, 20 years old. One is level 1 autistic. He's very much like Sebastian. And my son Spencer is profoundly autistic. Like, he will need care 24/7 for the rest of his life. I'm very aware of the medications, the different medications kids take. And I don't think they would have anything in the house that they could give Sebastian unless they gave him so much of it or injected him with it that would put him to sleep that way. So my instinct is that she was being given something that would literally put him to sleep like that.
Right. Well, my husband was like, well, his first thing was, well, maybe she's getting pills for herself from this person, from this Green Hoodie person.
Yes, yeah, that was possible too.
And I don't know, with Seth saying, listen, he was just recently put on a sleeping medication, which I don't understand why, because he has no problem sleeping at my house. So he was just recently put on this sleeping medication. And then you have Katie, the thud that she heard, which still bothers me.
I don't know that we've ever gotten a list that I've seen of the medications somebody said he was taking Risperdal. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's true or not. I think they got that from Seth. Risperidone is a medication that Spencer was on for many years. I know a lot about Risperdal. Risperdal, first of all, makes you very hungry. Kids tend to gain weight when they're on Risperdal. It helps with anxiety. It generally doesn't affect sleep. Now, if you're sleeping in your bed, it might be easier to fall asleep at night than if you were, let's say, sleeping in a garage. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on, because you were the one who pointed out Katie saying come in.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait a minute. I had to replay it like 3 times. I'm like, what'd she just say?
Listen, in my opinion, there was abuse going on in that house, different kinds. And I think Sebastian stayed away from people a lot. And, when Katie and Chris were asleep, maybe that was his time to do things that he wanted to do, eat things he wanted to eat, and so forth. So that might factor into it, as opposed to, Bobby Brotherton says Risperdal makes you hungry. It doesn't factor into sleep. If he was given, let's say, I don't know what sleep medication he was given, but my guess is it was something like trazodone. And trazodone would have to, if you have a child who's autistic, you could weigh in too. Trazodone, it works, but you would have, our kids who are autistic tend to have trouble sleeping. Okay. Level 1, level 2, level 3. Not every child, obviously, but there are, it is something that goes on. Right. And, our kids take a lot of medications. They're used to medications, and you would have had to have given him a lot. So I don't know how he took his medications. Was he able to swallow pills, or did, like my son, I have to crush it up and put like a little hot water, stir it, and then put juice, and he drinks it through a straw with juice. How was he taking it? Right. The introduction of new medication would not raise a red flag for an autistic child, because they're used to having new medications. Their medications change. But an autistic child, if you were to say, like, oh, the doctor says instead of taking these white pills, you're taking these blue pills, right? You got to take 2 of those instead of 2 of those. But if you said doctor said you have to take, 15 of them when you were taking 2, that would probably raise a red flag.
Yeah. But
and you would taste it if you had to give them a lot.
Right. But I was, as far as law enforcement coming out, it's so many months later and saying, listen, we cleared green hoodie person, there's no involvement.
Right.
I just don't buy that.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't trust the sheriff's office for so many reasons,
Right.
And it's like,
why did they not talk to Green Hoodie for all these months? Why did, that was the last place she and Sebastian were seen, with other people around.
Right.
I think if the police had thoroughly questioned staff there, everybody who was outside, the 2 guys who were the yellow jacket, the one who was doing deliveries, who works there, if they had thoroughly questioned each person who saw them inside and outside, I think somebody who worked there would have spoken to the media or spoken to a YouTuber at this point.
Right.
So I don't think that they really did do a thorough.
No, I don't either. And on their end, if how, like, if you go to a restaurant, right, and there's like some kind of sickness, and they'll put out a thing and they'll be like, oh, if you were at, let's say, Olive Garden on Tuesday, this date, contact us because you could have been exposed to whatever. Right. They should have put out a bulletin. So listen, if you were at Texas Roadhouse at this day during this time, we'd like to talk to you. We'd like to speak to you. Come in. You know what I mean? Or get a hold of us.
Did you notice anything? Yeah. I have no idea if they did that or not, but I have never really heard from anybody who was in the restaurant who came on the channel. And the fact that they talked to Green Hoodie, 9 months, 10 months after the date that she had that
is crazy
interaction with Katie, is like, so much can have, you could have been in jail and been out of jail already.
Yeah.
A lot of things could have happened in that.
I believe
now you're homeless,
Yeah, I believe that Katie had talked to this person, this green hoodie person,
Yeah.
and he knew, whoever it was, knew like they got there just as she was getting ready to leave the restaurant, and he stood there and waited by her car. So to come out to the public and say, "Listen, this is not relevant," is BS.
Yeah, that's what I felt. I was like, I don't care what anybody else says. Green hoodie is sus. I mean, not only did she come out of a car, she did this like zigzag walk, right? Across.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like almost like maybe she was looking for a specific car or license plate, then crouched behind a car, right? Why should Green Hoodie tell Ellie if she sold? They wouldn't. I don't think she would.
Well, see, my thing would be, listen, if I was just there to sell some lady Xanax or something, but I had the public questioning whether or not I was involved in a kid's disappearance, I'd be like, listen, I was there to sell her Xannies. You know what I mean? Because it clears, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If the public was looking at me for being possibly involved in a missing child's case, I would put that out there. I would be like, listen, I just gave her some pills. Like that was all I did.
If it's possible that Katie doesn't know who Green Hoodie is and sold her something stronger than that, like what Prince took that ended up taking his life in order to knock Sebastian out,
right,
just to put him to sleep, heavily asleep, like to bring him outside in the cold weather, no shoes, no socks. And by the way, I want to say hi to Mohawk Mom and Woman's Warrior and everybody in here, and Renee and YouTuber. So many nice people to see. And I'm sorry I don't say everybody's name, but if it could be law enforcement did talk to them and she did admit to something,
right?
And then they wouldn't tell the public. They'd say, no, we talked to her and
she's been cleared.
She's been cleared. But it's hard when law enforcement, listen, when anybody talks to you like you're an idiot, it bothers me, like don't tell me Green Hoodie is nobody. Okay.
Right.
Like Green Hoodie is somebody. I don't know what kind of somebody it was.
Right. Exactly.
They are sus. That is not normal. They were there for a reason. That interaction was not, random. Oh, it was not normal. It was, she went up between cars as opposed to go the big, space she could have gone. I had a suspicion about who it was before. And that person died before December. So, and I still think it's possible it was that person. And I don't know if law enforcement talked to the right person. How do we know that they got the right person? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I early on identified because I've done family trees on everybody in this case. And I feel like I recognize the person, but from their pictures.
Yeah. I want to pull up. So I talked about a little bit about this heart that Katie had on her arm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as I was in there, as I was doing my video yesterday, somebody had commented as I was premiering it, and they said that if you look that tattoo up, it means broken heart until we meet again in heaven. Okay, that's what that tattoo symbolizes. So my thing is, why would you have that tattoo if you think your son is out there somewhere and is just going to walk back in your door?
Whereas Women's Warrior says, I agree with you. There's stuff on Texas Roadhouse that is suspect. I was just looking at her, what she was just saying. Sorry, it went up. I can't get back to it. But anyway, did you look it up, or is that what it means?
It says, Julie, agree with you. There is stuff on the TRH footage to provoke the urgency and the reaction of KP and SF heading there like a bat out of hell, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. They wanted to see what they saw.
Thank you, Kristen, for the membership.
Did you look up what that means?
I did after someone said that. And it does. It symbolizes, I guess that's what it means, is
until I see you in heaven.
Yes, heartbroken until I see you in heaven. Or until we meet again in heaven.
Why did the news show that picture of the heart?
Well, you saw it in the tattoo. I mean, you saw it in her interview.
I know, but like
I said the same thing.
Like, why did she show it to him? Like, look what I got, or
I'm sure she did.
Could it be what would the deception detective say? Is it a form of leakage? Not verbal leakage, but
right.
Is it a form of leakage? People.
The tattoo artist said that tattoo is very commonly asked for people whose loved ones have passed away.
Yeah. I think that she would have, if you get a tattoo, you look up what it means.
Right.
People always ask people with tattoos, what does that mean? What's that about? Or what, who's that for?
Right.
And
yes, and it's new. You can tell it's a new tattoo.
And if it's something easily looked up, then I would say I would take things literally. Like, if the first thing you see is till we meet again in heaven, I would think that would be the first thing she would see if she looked it up.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And not only that, but you also have her when she said he would have, he would have turned 16. And then she stopped herself and she said he did turn 16.
Yeah. I don't want to make too much of that, other than the fact that she said he would have turned 16. If she had just finished the sentence, wouldn't have bothered me as much as the fact that she stopped herself and changed it.
Right.
Like, if she just made a mistake and said he would have turned 16, like been here to turn 16, had a party kind of thing is what I meant. Like there was nothing to it. I didn't mean anything by it. I would say, okay, yeah, I could totally see that. But the fact is he would have, and then you go, and then you breathe in and look up and then change your mind and say something else. Yes. That's like, that's me shouting to everybody. I am paying attention to everything I say and how I say it, so I don't come off as looking guilty.
Right. And that's the thing is, and that's what I was trying to say yesterday in my premiere last night. That's what I was trying to convey is I was like, it's crazy because I was like, could she have possibly just, because he's not there, she didn't get to experience the birthday with him. You know what I mean? Just said would have, you know what I mean? But if she knew mentally, like she knew that she was like, oh, okay, I can't say that. I got to correct myself.
Yeah. So she's paying attention to what people are saying and concerned about how she appears.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like she's not concerned enough to look for him.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Or even pretend to look for him.
Exactly.
Either way. So she is a complex person.
She's something.
She's very complex. I mean, she was in the military. I think she did some things in communications. She had, certain trainings. She's not like, just some, I don't know what to say, country and I don't want to be offensive to anybody, but she's not just like, like she's been around the world, she's seen things, and she's aware, she's gotten different trainings on stuff. So she's very deliberate and orderly.
Mm-hmm.
She pays attention. She not only pays attention to what she says, she pays attention to what he says, Chris says, and you can hear her sometimes on the phone in the background, like adding something or say, like correcting it.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked how quiet Chris was during that interview.
I'm sure he had to be coached into that.
I'm sure it doesn't come natural.
No, that took a lot of practice.
Did you also notice that she had no accent in that interview?
Yeah, people have mentioned before.
Like there was no Southern draw to that.
Changes of accents.
And I'm not sure why that is, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
It is something I did notice.
I have to say, I, lived in the South for 7 years. And when I was living there, I heard myself start saying y'all and things I would never say.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes where you are, you tend to pick up kind of. So maybe because they've been isolated and she's reverted back to her regular way.
Be.
I don't know.
Be.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but it is something that I did notice. Yeah. At night said.
Oh, go ahead.
At night said Green Hoodie was Chris's stepsister and is now deceased before Ellie supposedly even talked to her. Loose end, maybe from a drug deal that night. Yeah, okay, we don't know.
Well, Carrie Stark, that is who I identified her as. But since then, when police said no, we talked to her in December, and I know that she passed away in November. What am I to believe? She passed away in November. If they had said we talked to her in November, I'd say, okay, this was definitely, because it looks so much like her. She did have cancer. The person who walked up seemed, odd looking, sick. Lower stomach was a little distended. I don't know if that was the sweatshirt but I do know people who are on chemo can get like sort of distended stomachs. And the hair was short, which could have meant because the stepsister did die of cancer, she had lost her hair and her hair was growing back during chemo. So, but they said they talked to Green Hoodie in December. They know who it is. I don't know how they know who it is.
I don't either. I don't either. Because honestly, I thought it was a guy.
Well, it looks like, yeah. Well, they did call him a guy first. I wasn't sure, but then when I saw the pictures of his stepsister, now the stepsister, I'm not saying this is who it is, but the person, should I say who did this? Which the relationship?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so the relationship that he has with the stepsister, and I did go on her Facebook, which she had all her posts, including around the time Sebastian went missing. She is Chris's the person I thought she looked like. Okay, saying one I thought she looked like, not saying that's who it is.
Mm-hmm.
and who had cancer, was Chris's second wife, Chris's stepmother's daughter, her daughter that she had already when Chris's father and his mother got together. Now his stepmother's name is Linda, and I know her name was Linda because of the family tree, but also I know, and I'm comfortable saying it, because Nina mentioned Linda, Chris's stepmother, on the interview that she did with Trevor Lee. She, Nina, his ex-wife.
Yeah.
She said the day that they didn't return Faith, when she came back from the hospital with her older daughter, and she went to the Bowersox house, and Terry Bowersox came out with a bat to tell her to get off the property, and her kids were in the car. She said, I had Chris's stepmom, Linda, on the phone, and it turns out they were all in on it. Like, that she had reached out to Linda possibly for help, and Linda knew what was going on.
Wait, and Linda, you're saying, is Chris's sister or whatever?
No, Linda would be Chris's stepmother. It would be the woman, his father.
Okay, gotcha.
And the woman that Green Hoodie looks like is her daughter.
Right, gotcha. Okay.
And so I don't know if it is or not, but I do know about Linda from Nina's interview where she said, I got his stepmother on the phone, and it turns out they were all in on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she thought she could get help from Linda. Yeah, Linda, and his father's name is Michael Proudfoot.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's who we're talking about. Yeah.
Wanted to.
Who knows? I don't know who she is. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But all I know is I agree with you. Something's up. It's sus. I don't know why they waited till December.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we may never know at this point.
Like I sit here and I go, why would the police do this? Why would they do this? Why is this done? You know what I mean? Why didn't they do this?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's mind-boggling. It really, truly is. But I did want to bring this up because a lot of people are talking about the construction site and all the dumpsters and all the cement and everything that was done. And I didn't see this news clip in the very beginning. So I just wanted to play this real quick.
Jaxie, what can you tell us at this point?
So,
well, Nicole, I've been out here with Jerry, our photographer, since this morning at 3:30, and we were over at the command post for that whole time until just recently we decided to drive around a little bit, and we stumbled upon this area that's been under construction. I'm gonna have him pan so you can see. We saw search and rescue teams searching around these houses, going in and out with a dog, trying to chase down and track down Sebastian Rogers. Now, several agencies, like you said, are helping out with this search, some even as far as Collierville, more than 3 hours away. Officials say Sebastian has autism and likes to get into small spaces and hide under his bed. So for those who are near this search area around Beach High School, along Long Hollow Pike, you may want to check out buildings, garages, cars, even under decks in case Sebastian used any of these as hiding places. People are doing just that. I even just saw one resident check under his hot tub cover. So people are definitely all trying to help out with this search. Again, description of Sebastian: he's 5'5", weighs 120 pounds, with dirty blonde hair, most likely wearing a black sweatsuit and glasses. So if you do see Sebastian, or if you know where he may be, you're asked to call the Sumner County.
What street was she on?
That was
Willow Bend.
Is that what it said?
I'm asking, was she on Willow Bend?
I don't know. I don't think she specifically said. She said we're at the construction site.
Willow Bend is where the police officer who had the dog Max said, I'm over by, I think he said Willow something, and I think he meant Willow Bend. and because I looked on the map, and that was where the pond was. And at that time, the construction, they never stopped construction on the 26th. So I don't know.
Does that not seem odd to you though? Like if you had a listing,
I don't know about that. Like, I don't think they would be throwing piles of dirt on places where people were searching. They were definitely searching over there. There's videos of people searching that area,
right,
at the
clearly.
time. So they drained the pond. I mean, there's no way they were like, throwing piles of dirt on the people searching.
Right.
Now, were the guys who were in those, framed houses continuing to put nails in the boards? Maybe, it didn't interfere with the search and they could keep going with whatever they were doing. Possibly. The thing about that site is what you notice is at that time, not only were not all the houses built, but a lot of the houses had just been put up and were not yet occupied. So it's, I don't know, has anybody ever walked right from Sebastian's house? I would love to see somebody take their shoes and socks off, get a GoPro, and walk the easiest possible way, right, to that construction site and see if they can do it. Because at some point you're going to have to go through some woods, right?
Right.
Because otherwise he would have to walk barefoot all the way up to a main road, or this other, I don't know. I would like to see somebody right now. I mean, it's February. It's the weather is basically how it was, right? Let's see somebody walk it to the construction site. I would love to see somebody reenact that right now.
Yeah.
Because, is there anything you're going to have to go over? Is there anything you're going to have to go through? Is there, is there any part of a road that is finished now that wasn't finished? Is there anything that could slow you down? If they're heading in that direction, let's see somebody walk it. I've never seen anybody walk it
on video. Yeah, right.
At all. So I would love to see. And now the easiest way to walk would be, there's actually two ways he could have walked staying on roads, right? I believe, no, I'm sorry. No.
One.
There's only one. No, he could have gone around. You know how it goes around? Like he could have walked the long way around to the entrance, or he could have walked the shortest way around. But either way, the easiest, meaning on paved roads or grassed areas, would have him going past camera after camera after camera. Right?
Right.
So theoretically, you're trying to make it from their house to the construction site, avoiding cameras, basically. I would like to see it done two ways. One going past every camera, and one trying to make it from there to there, barefoot in February, no coat, at night.
Well, that's what I'm.
Reenact it. I mean, go ahead, reenact it, somebody. I would love someone to just take off their shoes and socks and go do that walk both ways.
Right.
Walk on the road at midnight, whatever the time they want to do, and then go walk on through the other way and see if you're able to do it.
Yeah, I believe he would have been picked up on camera at some point somewhere. I mean, to me, it's just.
How did he get to the construction site without getting picked up on any cameras? Even there were, I mean, I said some houses were not yet occupied, but some were occupied off of Willow Bend.
Yeah.
Right. Where that is where that dog, if they want to use the idea that the dog Max ran to the pond from Willow Bend, which is the street that now there is a fence between the backs of those new houses and where the pond was drained. But back a year ago, that fence wasn't there. So a person might have to go over a fence now, but we should assume that fence wasn't there at that time. But he would have still had to walk past some houses that were occupied and likely had cameras. I just can't see how he got past every.
Yeah, and let's not forget too that no scent dogs picked up a trace. According to Ellie, no scent dogs picked up a trace. And you know, Scott Snyder, the former detective that I had on, he said that the weather and the environment were perfect for scents to be picked up that night. So if Sebastian had walked out of the house, like like these people want to claim, it would have been picked up. There's there's
I remember him saying, like, if it were August and and it had rained a lot and this and that, it might be hard, but it wasn't. It was cool. It was, no rain. It was, it was just like, it was perfect.
It was perfect.
And
couldn't ask for a better.
The moon was like very bright.
Right.
And a lot of people have Ring cameras, and as from what we've seen on Ring cameras, they know that, and people who manufacture Ring cameras know that people are coming up to people's houses at night, and you're going to have to catch somebody at night with dark clothing on. But he didn't have a hoodie, right? So we would have to assume that his head, his face, which was very pale, would have been shown. Would have been visible. Right? So wouldn't they have picked up he was really pale.
Yeah. Yep. Me either. I did want to, SF was on Web Sleuths yesterday, 14 hours ago. And I just wanted to go over I have not watched it yet, but I did want to go over and just listen to what, what he had to say about this, because the video that he put out that I talked about last night, to me, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem right. And when you have information that is coming from somebody who is a professional photographer that is, really good with Photoshop, really good with things like that, and has been not the most trustworthy person, I, for one, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I can't believe a word the guy says unless I can verify it myself.
Carrie Starr said the neighbor next door's camera picked up someone carrying a big black thing over their shoulders, same time as mystery car. According to neighbors, one flashlight went back to the house. Yeah, that we've seen. Not the enhanced pic from the flashlight video. Ellie took the footage. No one has seen it. So, yeah, I've heard that too. I heard that, and it was probably a Ring door camera, because they could see, even people wearing dark clothes. This is not, that's what I keep saying to people, like, in terms of enhancing video, right? And looking at videos of crimes, it would be lovely if criminals would do police a favor and commit all their crimes in the daytime, wear bright colored clothing, and do it in front of cameras. But that's generally not how it happens. So police departments have to be used to looking at camera footage in the dark, I would think that's how it happens generally.
Yeah.
And it's often grainy and not very good, but that doesn't mean that it can't be enhanced and it can't be looked at. This would not be the first case of a crime being committed at night,
Mm-hmm.
a dark space.
Right. SF has been talking. Let me see. SF has, SF has been talking about that video for months. First said it was Bobby's kid. Then someone else said on Laura Lodge a month before he put it out. But that's what pisses me off, and that's what makes me believe even more that it's just another distraction put out by SF. Because he had this video footage for how long? And then waited till the 1 year to go, wait a minute, let me send this to the news stations and say it's breaking.
Did you see Mob Crew, their first go around with the video with the guy with the dog? I mean,
I did not.
So it's worthwhile and Mob Crew's going live again tonight, working on that same footage that SF showed.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, he has contacts in the neighborhood who they not only identify the person, they identify the dog. They know the person and the dog. You know how you know dogs in your neighborhood because you see the same people walking the same dogs?
Yeah, who said that though? Who said they knew the person and the dog?
Well, it's Mob Crew's contact in the neighborhood.
Okay, gotcha.
They know the person and the dog.
Oh, okay.
And Mob Crew, enhanced it, looked at it, brightened it, slowed it down and everything. And it's not according to Mob Crew, and it's worth watching him tonight, to see what else, what he sees, because according to Mob Crew, if I remember correctly, he was saying it's like it was some with the dog kind of runs this way and the guy has to double back and get the dog and then walk again. So he was saying it's not two people, it's the same person.
Gotcha.
So I would recommend watching him tonight just to get another look at it, another perspective on it. Because SF is saying it's two people.
Right.
Mob Crew, I believe, is saying it's one person.
Yeah. Right. But you understand what I'm saying, right? Like, for somebody who's had this video for months and months and months, to just all of a sudden now go, wait a minute, I'm going to immediately send this to news stations and say, hey, I'm the PI on the case, breaking news. This might be Sebastian. Pisses me off.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? This guy is a piece of work. He really is. I mean, but he signed that he went on Laura Lodge and said that the Proudfoots signed a contract with him on October 14th, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, that's where his, he's clearly, that's where his allegiances lie,
Well, right.
So if it fits a narrative that would help his clients, I mean,
I get it from his perspective.
He is like, it's like the picture he put out from the neighbor's backyard with it blurred out part of the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, we haven't seen the backyard and we haven't seen this. And then, there's been stuff that I think has been manipulated.
Yeah.
By him. I'll give you another example of something. There's a picture around right before Sebastian's birthday a lot of people, including myself and other creators, were talking about the fact that why don't they have pictures of Sebastian at 15? You know, why don't they have, why are they, all the pictures we see are him at 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, we're like, who is this kid? You know, they're not, somebody's going to stop a 12-year-old thinking it's Sebastian. Okay. There, because that's what's on the flyers. So, and I also started saying, you know what else is interesting? When you see pictures of Seth and Sebastian, you see a lot of pictures of them embracing, his head on his shoulder, him holding him as a baby. Just there's a lot of, you know, family photo kind of things, right? And when you see pictures of Sebastian, he's alone. Or there's the one picture of him kind of peeking out his head from his mother at Texas Roadhouse, which turns out it wasn't even that night, you know, but she submitted it like it was that night. So Texas Roadhouse. Okay, so everyone's saying there's no family photos, you know, there's no family pictures, there's no pictures of them hugging him, there's nothing, nothing. And then all of a sudden, right the week before his birthday or the week of his birthday, they put SF, I think, posts a picture on X. I believe it's SF, posted a picture on X of Katie and Sebastian. And Sebastian now looks closer to the age he is, right? He's leaning his head on his mom, similar to the way he was leaning his head on his dad. And it's with Katie. But Katie looks, in terms of weight, how she looks now, as opposed to how much she weighed when he went missing. And I'm like, when was Katie this heavy? You know?
Yeah.
And then there's no background. They actually cut it out. And, you know, there's like, you know, when you like cut out a picture and there's like a little space by the ear to the neck, and you see this. I don't know if you did this as a teenager, but where you do like these, you know, collages of your friends and you cut out the pictures and you put them together and it's almost like they're like together, you know, in the picture, but they're not.
Yeah,
like
Photoshop.
Like that's what I think it was. Because I'm like, does they have a picture closer to his age now and he's leaning his head on his mom? That's what it appears. But she's like 30 pounds heavier than she was when he disappeared. So I was like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of funny, the timing of it too, just before his birthday. And everybody's saying, why don't you have any pictures of you guys together?
Well, you know, think about this. When the cops showed up, she told them what? She said Sebastian walked out. Sebastian left. Sebastian ran away. He walked out. That was their story from the very beginning. And then when she gives out pictures of Sebastian, she puts out all pictures from years ago. Not even what he looks like, you know, not even what he looked like that day. No. Just pictures from years ago. And I truly believe that they were going to report him as a runaway. And they never thought that this case would blow up like it has. No, they did not believe it was going to get the national attention that it's gotten.
No, I think they thought like they didn't care about where he went. You know, they were send him off anywhere. Yeah. They didn't think people were going to care about him. Like, oh, autistic kids just disappear, walk off all the time. Who's going to care about this autistic kid? You know, they go missing every day. They had no idea that people were going to care. And yes, I think it shocked them. It surprised the hell out of them. And they really miscalculated that. They also, here's another thing. They said on the first report, or I believe he was 120 pounds at 5'5". If you look at any kind of like medical chart for height and weight for an adolescent boy, 15 years old, right? What the average or normal weight should be. There's a range, you know, if you fall in this range, you're of normal weight. If you're above it, you're, you know, you could be too heavy or obese. And if you're below it, you're, you know,
underweight. Right.
Underweight. He at 120 and 5'5", he was just at the edge of what is normal. Okay. And okay, that's one thing. But then at the 6-month mark, they put out their own new missing flyers, and they were on Duchess's show, and Duchess helped with the new flyers, right? Updated flyers. And on the updated flyers at the 6-month mark of him being missing, they changed his weight to 113 pounds. And it said 113 pounds at his last checkup or last doctor visit. Now, if he was 113 pounds at his last doctor's visit and they changed it, what did they report he was 120 to the police at that time?
Yeah.
I think my theory.
Hello, Brianna.
I think if they said he was 5'5" and 113 pounds, a police officer, you know, would look at them and go, wait a second, 113 pounds. Like, that's like super thin, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe there's something wrong. So they upped his weight not to draw any red flags.
Gotcha.
Because and to find out later that he was on Risperdal, which makes kids gain weight and makes them hungry. It literally can pack on pounds. That he was on Risperdal, and they were criticizing him for eating and
all the time.
I mean, and putting him on a medication that makes you hungry. It's like, that's torture. I mean, to me, I don't know. That's the actual definition of torture, but not letting you have snacks. But I mean, it's just, I think that, why did it go down? Why did they change the weight? And it's probably, I think, CPN know exactly what has happened to Sebastian. All their gestures show guilt.
Thank you, Mama's World. Yes, I agree.
I think that they didn't want to raise red flags by saying his true weight, or at that point, by 6 months, hopefully law enforcement had talked to his pediatrician, who gave them the actual weight of Sebastian. So they had to use his actual weight, which would have been 113 pounds. Why would they change it to 113 pounds?
Right.
And this was, go back to Duchess's ones. They're putting new flyers out, and they change it, and it says, and they actually specify at his last checkup. And it was probably because they went to see the doctor. Yeah. And I swear that would be the first interview I would love to have, is Sebastian's pediatrician. If I could.
I mean, they gave out nothing but wrong information in the beginning. That, like I said, why, you know what, if your kid goes missing, right? And you just you have pictures on your phone of him yesterday that you took at Texas Roadhouse. Why would you not put those pictures out?
Right.
You know, why not use those pictures? Why are you really giving the police or releasing these pictures to the public that are from years ago? Because you don't want him to be seen and found.
Yeah, but let's say in a panic, you just, you know, you're not thinking, and you just give them whatever you got, right? Whatever's the top picture on your Facebook, let's say. Why not correct it? You know, I mean,
why not go, wait a minute? Yeah, I got these pictures from last night on my phone, you know?
When they went on Fox and Friends, They had a picture, but they had to have provided Fox and Friends, and he looks literally 10 years old.
Yeah.
In the picture.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is like false reporting. I mean, it's like a scam or something. Like, you're asking people to look for that kid. They're never going to find Sebastian. That kid looks 10.
Yeah. My husband actually said that he walked in one day and he's like, why are they showing two different kids for Sebastian? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he showed me and I was like, babe, that's the same person. That was just him years ago. He's like, they look totally different.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Darker. His hair's darker. His facial structure is more, you could see where his shoulders have filled out, his shoulders are wider. I mean,
yeah,
it's really like, there's so much to explain, it's just, there's so many things that, like, what was the song? Things that make you go,
yeah, exactly. But it's, these are the kind of things that make people look at mom sideways. These are the kind of things that make people go, she's clearly not out for the best interest of her child.
Yeah. And they've asked Chris some of the questions. I think he was on one show where someone asked him about that, about him, why. Oh, I think he was on a panel, and Granny's watching asked him, people are asking, why are the pictures of him, from, a couple years ago or a few years ago? And he says they have the most up-to-date pictures. I think Chris said, and I think that's his most up-to-date that they had, of course, other than that night. And then this I can't say was said, because I don't know who said it, but apparently they felt he didn't, he looked silly or goofy or dumb or whatever. That's why they weren't taking pictures. I mean, I don't think he said to his father, they don't like me, So yeah, if they're trying to, get you to go live with the father or send you to a place that, they're not even looking at to see if
right.
been hurt there, then they're probably not taking a lot of pictures of you. You take pictures,
right.
Other than school pictures.
Right. I mean, she could have even released one of those. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just for her to release the pictures that she did is ridiculous to me.
Well, because the last school picture, he's got chocolate milk just on one side of his lip.
Yeah, which she clearly pointed out.
Now, I don't know if your kids drink chocolate milk or, things that stain their face or juice or something like that. But when Spencer drinks like that, because he does that all the time, it looks like, like the Joker. It's on both sides. When he puts the cup up too high,
Yeah, like a milk mustache.
It's not on one side. It's like a Joker thing on the edge of the smile. It's on both sides, not just on one side.
Yeah.
When it's liquid. Now, if it's food, if you're putting food in on one side of your mouth, that would be different. But when it's liquid from a cup, it would come out evenly, right?
Right.
Both sides. Why does he have it just on one side? Is it chocolate milk or is it a bruise?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And that's the school picture. And, she said it's the chocolate milk. Maybe she didn't want to release that one because it wasn't chocolate milk. I don't know. Or it could have been chocolate milk, but it could have been a bruise and she didn't want people guessing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was the last school picture, the one she showed, looked closer to his age than any of the others. Right.
Like the one of him in the car with the puppies. Like, it's just frustrating to me because they've done everything. They've done everything the opposite that I would have done had it been my child.
Yeah. how about the one toy she puts out is the crane.
The crane.
Like, oh, Sebastian just loved Mr. Chris so much. That would be the toy he would want to he just wants to emulate him so badly.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the toy he would play with. I mean, it's like, all right, yesterday I did a live and I said the title of it was What a Mother of a Missing Child Looks Like.
Yeah.
And I said, the mother I'm thinking of is not Katie. It was this woman named Rachel Goldberg, whose son Hirsch was, on October 7, 2023, when at the Nova Music Festival in Israel his arm was blown up, but he was captured and he was held hostage for almost a year. And this mother, they were Americans. They're from outside of Chicago, a suburb of Chicago. And this mom is like the tiniest woman. And I'll never forget his name. I'll never forget her. She spoke to everybody. Every day she would put a piece of Scotch tape on her shirt with the number for the day is missing. 38 days, 54 days, 79 days, 102 days, that kind of thing. Every single day. She did a blog every day she put out. She was on every TV show, everything you could find. The woman got in front of prime ministers. She got 2 meetings with President Biden. 2. She met the Pope. Literally, this mom, I mean, she went to, when you say, I would go to the ends of the earth for my child,
right?
She literally did that. She made sure, and when they show interviews of her, and I was showing this in my live yesterday, they showed interviews of her. First of all, I showed a picture of her at day 38, where she's thin already, but you could see she had, a little weight on her hips and stuff. By the time they found out he was no longer alive, after almost a year's mark, the woman, you could see the bones on her shoulder collar, sticking out. Like, it was like she didn't want to eat because she felt like, how can I eat when I don't know if my son is eating,
Yeah.
She literally went to the ends of the earth. She talked to everybody. There wasn't a day that went by that she didn't put out. She was posting, she'd do a blog and she'd post it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on this. I mean, every place possible. She went to the ends of the earth. She met with everybody. I mean, and I said, if her son's looking down.
Thank you, Passion Flower.
And seeing his mom and what she did to try to find him, to try to get him free, to try to get him back to her, he would feel proud of her and feel very loved. And I said, now what would Sebastian feel?
Right.
Would he feel loved? I mean, I'm not saying Katie has to be like, get a meeting with the Pope, but you could literally sit in a camper and make a 1-minute blog a day saying it's day, 202 without my son. And I just want to tell this little story about him or something and post it on nobody has to ask you a question. Nobody has to do anything.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just like, there's so many ways to get that out and nothing.
Right. Look at Gabby Petito's parents. Those are the parents that, I go to for, that's how parents should be while their child is missing. Those are the things that parents who want to find their child, those are the things they are doing.
Mama's World said the reporter who interviewed them, she's a dingbat. She asked them, is
the same things over and over in a different way.
Oh yeah, she saved it over and over a different way. I know. And she even fed him, Mama's World, the last line. Like, And so you want people to keep looking for him, right? And they
Right.
go, yes, we want him. Like literally, like, you know, why don't you just answer the question, ask the questions and answer them for them.
Yeah, don't sit there though and cry and be like, oh, you know, people just please keep searching, when you have like
Thank you,
when you
Tina.
have the parents acting the way they are acting. When not the parents, I'm sorry, mom and stepdad, I mean, who are not concerned with searching whatsoever for their child.
I mean, she was like, I mean, listen, I'm sure they had to pre-approve the questions that they would be answered.
Oh yeah.
Asked. But given the fact that they knew the questions in advance that they were going to be asked,
And she's still.
it was still like, it was so painful. There was so many pauses. It was like how many times they started by saying, thank you, Passion Flower. How many times they started by saying, you know, that's hard to say, or I'm not sure, or, you know, it's hard to explain. I don't have the words. I mean, go back and read the transcript. There were a lot of questions that when they came to the answer, they knew what the questions would be. And they said, it's hard to put into words.
Right.
I just don't have the words. I just don't know how to explain. It's like, well, you know, and even that, it was like, I don't know. Did you feel like it was like painful to watch? It was cringy. It was tense, you know, and for them to say nice things, it seemed it didn't flow easily. And Chris never said anything nice.
Now, the one thing I did want to say, and I know, listen, I know everybody's different and we all express ourselves in different ways. Yes. However, when something happens to someone's child, right, it sometimes takes years for them to be able to think back on memories and be able to smile and laugh again.
Yes.
Okay.
You're
Katie's
right.
already there and her son's still missing. You know what I'm saying? There's no closure on what happened to Sebastian. It's not like he's been found, you know, but yet she's already at that point where she's laughing and to me, it's hard because there are parents. I've seen so many parents of kids who have gone missing or kids who have, you know, something bad happened to them and they're no longer with them. Yeah. That it just takes a really long time sometimes to be able to get to that point where you can look back and smile and laugh. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was nervousness. This is my attempt at fairness. Being in front of a camera when you haven't spoken to the media for 9 months may have made her a little nervous. So it's saying I'm being understanding, but also, you know,
right.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like she could have.
No, I get what you're saying.
Out of nerves, but you know, if she talked to the media more, she probably would be more comfortable,
right?
As opposed to so uncomfortable.
In my opinion, I think the only reason that they did this interview was not to tell people to search, was not to tell people to keep his name out there, was not. I don't believe any of that. I believe this interview solely was to bring sympathy to Chris and Katie. To say, hey, everybody, stop hating on us. Look at the pain we're suffering.
Well, yeah, that was when she said, you know, they asked, what would you say when she was alone, you know, to people who are saying whatever, just stop. Like that, she actually looked directly ahead and said, stop. And like very clearly, like it wasn't like looking up, looking to the side. It was looking straight ahead and saying, just stop. Yeah. And it's not, it was for who is she fighting for? Like, kind Julie. Oh, well, like, who is she advocating for? Not for him, not for Sebastian, for them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was like for them. Who is she worried about? Them.
Right.
Their treatment, how they're
Right.
talked to. It's just like, what would you say? I would say, check your sources of where you get your information. Okay, well, guess what? We don't get information from anybody. Not from you guys, not from the police, not from, there's no information. So it was like, check your sources. Like, I don't know what to say to that, but it's, there was more I felt, and I have to go back and look at the transcript to see, but I felt the number of words or sentences said instructing the public on how to treat Chris and Katie.
Right.
There were more words about that than there were instructions for the public on what they should be doing to find Sebastian.
Yep. I agree.
Like when you go on, you should have a message like, this is what we need, pass out flyer, whatever. Like, obviously. And then in this day and age, by the way, like passing out flyers is like, maybe not the most effective way to reach, the most people.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying don't pass out flyers, but like, in addition to passing out flyers, maybe if you go on the internet, Twitter, whatever, you could reach 100,000 people in one day, as opposed to the 40 people who walk past that flyer.
Yep.
But I mean, there should have been more instructions for the public. Although Chris seemed very amped about running down that lead and that they're so hopeful now. I don't know why.
Well,
that particular piece of footage was, that got them, as opposed to everything else has been dismissed by them. Every other piece of footage people saw was dismissed, but that piece of footage, that's the one. But I'm like,
that's what I said.
Let's look at all the footage. Trying to gain public approval. I think they had. I mean, I also think SF has Twitter covered. I believe that's true. She and Chris are too busy in restaurants, motorbike things. The scary part is how far.
I did.
Yeah, I don't know what. I think they had to say something. It's a 1 year. They had to say something. They could not have stayed quiet. Where they were yesterday and the day before yesterday, because they filmed that ahead of time.
Right.
I don't know.
Filmed days before.
Yeah, I have no idea what they did on the actual anniversary.
Right.
Are they going to go to this vigil?
I doubt it.
Are they holding their own vigil?
They didn't go to the past ones.
You did the thing about their church not organizing functions.
Right.
About, for Sebastian. So I don't know. Are they even, I don't know where they live. I don't know where they stay.
Right. But even for her to say last night, listen, I know they're, not to supersede other missing kids, because there's other missing kids that, and I'm not going word for word, but
yeah. And
she was like, there's other missing kids that, should require more attention than Sebastian, but at least keep his name out there. Like that pissed me off.
He said more, maybe they deserve it more.
Right. Like what?
I'm like, there's the quote, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, what am I? Okay, well, Mom, you need to be for your child. He's not here. So you're his voice to advocate for him. You're not going out there and say, there's some other kids who are more deserving of being found than my kid.
Who says that?
Like that was like a moment like, what?
Me too. Like, what kind of mother is going to say that?
which kid is more important than your own kid in the mother's mind? If
Right.
I was the child, I'd be like, oh, mom, really? Which kid is more important than me to you?
Right. Right.
You know, which one? You know, I think I would want my mom to say I'm the most important, at least for her.
Right.
She said she should get more attention for then. Sebastian had me screaming. I was so freaking mad. I mean, yeah, Tina girl. It was that was like so much. And then, and she goes, well, this is the same rhetoric that started in the beginning. Now, Auntie Melissa, you know, the one who was on the video at his 15th birthday going, now, Sebastian, it's not 200. That lady, you know, on his birthday party, she initially, like the week he disappeared, posted, you know, that how like lecturing people about how selfish everybody is. I'm paraphrasing, for only focusing on Sebastian. We shouldn't only focus on Sebastian. There's a lot of missing kids.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, let their parents
advocate for them. Right.
Who's going to advocate if it's not his family? You know,
right.
Like, and trying to shame people for only thinking of Sebastian.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like lady.
From their family. She ended up deleting that, but you did see it reappear again with the step grandmother too, saying something similar. You know, think about all the kids who are missing. Right. And Chris, I think, said something. We should do something for all missing kids. Right. Okay, but like, you know, how about first let's find my kid. And then I'm going to do something for all after that. Then I'm going to do something for all the kids.
Right. And, you know, there's going to be people that are going to debate this and they're going to say, oh, well, you know, that just shows she's a caring person. Bullshit. This is supposed to be the 1-year anniversary of her son missing. This is why she's supposed to be here doing this interview. 1 year her son's been gone. And she's going to sit there and say there's other kids that deserve more attention than Sebastian. Are you kidding me?
That was, jaw dropped. They said that a lot of stuff has been deleted. Yeah, from early posts, people. Mohawk mom had said something about. I don't remember her saying that. I don't know if you want to read that. KP can't even say Sebastian's name yet. In the first interview. In the interview with Chris, she said his name. In the first interview, although it was highly edited, I mean, I would think she would have said his name enough that they would get one Sebastian in there. She literally said did not get his name said one time. Mm-hmm. Not once, referring to only as him. And it wouldn't be so suspicious if like Chris's mom has been criticized for constantly calling Sebastian this child, that child.
Right.
This child would have been found, like never saying his name, literally never saying his name. And it's something they do look for, I think, profilers, like distancing language. And I don't know. They said what they said. Do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think that, I think there are people who did feel a little more sympathy for her now. Like they maybe saw more emotion from her than they have before. What do you think?
I didn't feel, what I was trying to say last night is I didn't feel sympathy for her, but what I did is as a mother, I have 4 children. As a mother, it's, I kind of put myself in that position as to, you know what I mean? I couldn't imagine not knowing where my child was for a year, but I would be nothing like Katie. You know, I'd be on the front lines. Like, you know, I'll take everything you got, but I'm still going to do what I got to do to find my child.
Yeah. Carrie Starr says CP does the same thing. Her son, he calls it Katie's son or our son, stuff like that. And Tracy Kramer said, him again. She makes my blood boil. As a mom whose kid is missing a year, she knows what happened. As a mother, I feel she knows exactly where he is. I mean, all we know is like she does rile up women who are mothers, because it's like it's it's kind of like the green hoodie thing, but I mean, but 1,000 times worse. Like, don't tell me green hoodie's nothing. Like, don't tell me that's not sus. Okay, that's sus, right? Like it's like it's gaslighting. Don't tell me she's being normal for a child. We've had parents of missing children in history in this country enough to know, kind of be able to say how parents of missing children who are truly, they'd have no idea what happened to them act, generally speaking, although people are different, and how they definitely don't act. And by saying, like, it's like saying there's nobody going to convince me that the way she is behaving, not looking for her son, not talking about him every day, not out there, not being on the front lines, not like, I couldn't sit still. I couldn't eat. I couldn't go out to dinner. I couldn't go on a vacation. I couldn't go fishing, a motorcycle ride. I wouldn't be able to feel any happiness unless I knew they were eating, they were fishing, they were doing this, they were, I don't care what anybody says. Nobody will ever convince me the way she is behaving is normal. It's just not normal. And you say, what's normal for a mother who's lost child? You haven't been in that position. No, I haven't been in that position. But we have seen other parents, I mean, I'm not a spring chicken. Okay. I've seen a lot. I watch TV, I read books, and we've seen cases of other parents who have missing kids. And it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends growing up, still one of my best friends, her first cousin is Eitan Pates. The kid in New York City was the first kid on a milk container. He was mother when it was in the 70s, and she let him go to the bus stop. And they lived in the village, and he disappeared. He was 6 years old. That's her first cousin. And, they retired. Have you heard of him? Eitan Pates?
No.
You can look him up. He was the first kid on a milk container. And that family was destroyed. And they have never moved or changed their phone number. I know this for a fact. This is one of my best friend's first cousins. And they never changed their phone number. They never moved from the apartment. Just in case he should remember it. Right.
Well, there's two things that solidified my feelings towards Katie and how she looks at this. There are two things. One is that she left in the RV a month after Sebastian went missing, left her house. No mother, I don't give a shit. Threats, death threats I would not leave my home knowing my child was missing in case he could come back home. Right? Yes. That was number one. Mm-hmm. Number two was when she was on that panel, her and Chris, and they were asked, do you think of Sebastian as a burden? And she sat there and didn't say a fucking word. Not one word. She sat there. Oh my gosh.
Somebody was asking about, did you notice how she looked up? Yeah.
I don't remember what I want to say. I don't know. Maybe somebody can comment in the chat.
Does anybody know where she said, was Sebastian a burden?
I covered it. I know that. I went over it.
And there was a long pause before they answered.
She didn't answer at all. Chris.
Oh, she didn't answer?
No, she never said one word. They said, do you consider Sebastian a burden?
Mom said,
yes, it was Smiley's panel.
These new videos are infuriating to me. It's really okay. Brianna's World said KP said Sebastian bonded with both dads and it was a huge lie that she told. If CP bonded with Sebastian, then why did he hit Sebastian with the belt? Threw all his underwear away. He hates him. I have to say, about, well, why do you make him call him Mr. Chris? Or why was he being called Mr. Chris? You're so bonded with him. You call him, I'm so bonded with Mr. Chris. It doesn't sound right. But, you know, the thing that really hurt me thinking about what it meant to Sebastian when they threw out his underwear or gave it away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or gave it to his dad.
Gave it to his dad, yeah.
It was a sign to Sebastian. It was, if it was just Chris who did it, let's say, it would be Mr. Chris. It would be Mr. Chris's way of saying, I have no faith in you that you will ever get better, that you can ever do good. You know, you can't, we don't, you don't need underwear because you will never be able to go to the bathroom. You know, like it just showed such a lack of faith. Like what a signal to a child. Like we don't even need it. You see, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just cannot, I can't even imagine, you know, like, you know, why should we even do this? Because you're never going to be normal, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think everything Chris has done that his mother, that Katie allowed to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, you're not getting any sympathy from me. To me, there is no changing my mind as to what kind of person she was or is, you know what I mean? To what type of mother she was to Sebastian, because her sitting back quietly and letting Chris do all of these things is not a caring mother. And I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. And now they say, don't, like, all right, what would happen? Obviously, right now, I think we're all kind of letting off steam because we're just, I'm just saying, hater channels, listen, listen up. If you're watching this, right now, everyone's kind of letting off a little steam and reacting to the things we've heard and have built up for a long time, right? So you're getting a lot of there's a lot of strong feelings, especially about Katie and especially, well, yeah, from mothers about Katie and so forth. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, like, if I was Sebastian's mom, I would say, I don't need your sympathy. I just want you to find my child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm going to take a lie detector test right now on television in front of you, just so you know I didn't do this, and we can move on and you can help me find my child.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, that's what I would do. I don't, you know, I just want your help. And here I'm going to lead by example, you know, that kind of thing. And as long as she's not, you know, the only thing she's gonna, you can't sit there and not look for your child and expect people to and have other people look for your child and be asked for and ask other people to keep his name out there, to keep awareness about it when you're not doing it, and not have people feel resentful. That's what I say.
Yeah. Yep.
When I heard Katie say there are more worthy children to search for, I mean, she doesn't want him found and she knows he's gone. It's despicable. I don't care how she feels. It is. What do you think, CNY family? Do you think he will be found ever?
I mean, I really hope so. I really hope so. I pray that he will be found. You know, my husband has a different outlook on it, but I pray that he'll be found. I don't understand. He didn't vanish into thin air. You know, where the hell is he?
Yeah, but like once he was taken, okay, he didn't vanish into thin air. So he was gone.
Right.
Because of what he was wearing and wasn't wearing, and didn't have any supplies with him, didn't have a phone, didn't have this, right? He couldn't have survived without any assistance, right?
Right.
So we'll assume for now that he was taken, right?
Mm-hmm. I think if he was taken or given, I don't think he was taken by a random stranger.
No, but I'm saying if he was taken, it was one of his teachers worried in the beginning that maybe he had disappeared because he only weeks before he had been talking about abuse to them,
right,
and they had reported it, and like so if he was if they're what they're worried about is correct, that he is missing because of what he was talking about, how could they ever bring him back? Why would they bring him back? So if they decided to do something to make sure he was never found, and Chris has said, I think Chris said, you'll never find him, right? Or he'll never be found. I think there's ways to make sure somebody is never found, and given the access they had to, I don't know, the business, the second generation business, and all their materials and construction and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, Chris said they'll never be found. Chris said he'll never be found, and this case will be studied for years.
Right. So it's like they had a lot of resources available to them to make sure he will never be found. It wasn't like, somebody who, didn't have any tools, money, family. This was a person who had family, friends, money. If it was, people close to Sebastian who were involved, theoretically, in my opinion, allegedly, they had ways to make sure that he was never found. I don't know. I hope he's found. I hope he's found. But I just feel like, it's all right. Here's another question.
Do you think he's alive out there somewhere? No. Like I still hold on to that. I hope I pray he's alive, but
I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong.
Right.
I do. And I believe in miracles. I really do.
Right.
I mean, we have seen miracles, things that we never thought were possible.
Yeah. Not for nothing, but look at that house where that guy kept those girls for 10 years. And it was, dude, it was like 10 miles from her home.
Right. It's, yes. So, but, the fact that he said that, like he said, you'll never find him, that made my hopes go down a lot.
And him saying to Seth, if you want to find your son, go to church.
Yeah. And then, what do you think? A lot of people are talking about, and I actually took a screenshot of it, Chris's choice of shirts for the interview.
The
pig. Did you notice the pig?
Oh yeah, the pig fest or whatever.
Yeah. What was that about?
I don't know. I mean, I did see the logo on his shirt, but I don't really think I was paying too much attention to it either.
Yeah, it was like, I don't think it was appropriate. And sometimes, and I feel like, they knew they were going to be on TV. I feel like he was definitely coached into not talking so much.
Yeah.
So I feel like and if a lawyer saw them ahead of time, I feel like things, sometimes he might do something deliberately, and like, or just kind of not care how it looks, you know, like it just kind of was like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. The other thing, it was like, could it be Duper's delight? Could it be like everything's like a clue? Like, is there a tattoo a clue? Is that pig fest shirt a clue? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen him talk in a way that sounds like Duper's delight, right? It'll be studied. It'll be this. He'll never be found. That kind of stuff. Is the shirt Duper's delight? Is the tattoo Duper's delight? It is, you know, what is it?
Right.
I know it's a festival in Hendersonville every fall. But he says he was mocking. You felt he was mocking the audience.
Well, here's my thing. And here's the thing I think people, you know, really need to focus on is supposedly, now we have not seen this, but supposedly there's video from her dash cam that puts them back at home after Texas Roadhouse. Okay. We don't know. We've never seen that. However, there has to be some way that he was transported out of that home, and it's not on camera anywhere that we know of, right? Ellie's had all this, you know, if you can believe anything that's anybody's saying, but Ellie's had all this footage, but there's never Sebastian leaving the home. So
first,
we know.
Wait, I'm going to just say one thing. Mohawk Mom about the picture said, could it be mocking the police?
Oh, right. Pigs. I get it. Could be.
That's a possibility.
But he's over there saying police are doing everything they can. Police are doing a great job.
Yeah. But then didn't he say to E.T. Elevated Truth, like, you know, like they didn't even pick up my whenever they did the geofencing, like they're so dumb they don't, you know.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I don't know, something disparaging about police. So I don't know if like it's two ways. If it goes both ways, it's like
right.
Saying pigs eat anything. Did he say once? No one will ever find Sebastian. Was it pigs eat? Pig is saying pigs.
He's saying like, yeah, like pigs will eat everything, even bone.
Huh. You know, I just like, I don't know. I don't want to read too much into things.
Right.
But it certainly wasn't a thoughtful shirt to wear. Like maybe they should have worn green or something, or just something plain. You know, I don't know. It was just weird. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. About you were saying before.
No, it's okay. But Katie parked in the garage. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that I can think of, the only way that Sebastian could have been removed from that house without anybody seeing anything was if he was put in something and put in the vehicle, and then the vehicle left the garage and went wherever. But we're sitting here as civilians, you know, like just hoping and praying that the police did their due diligence and checked on all of these things. But listen, if Sebastian went into the house after Texas Roadhouse, he was never seen leaving the home. He was never seen on any video cameras. He was never seen in any vehicles leaving the home, seen on camera or by a person. So where did he go?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, do you don't think there's any relevance of the lights video?
No, I do, but I can't say that for 100%. You know what I mean? I can't sit here and say for a fact, I know that that's Sebastian being, you know what I mean? Being taken.
But it's definitely sus. I mean,
oh yeah, I believe it's something for sure.
Into the house.
Yes, I absolutely believe it's something, but I can't sit here and say 100% fact.
Right. I mean,
you know?
that's why we're both in agreement with Chris, you know. Let's get everybody back to the table.
Yeah.
Servers, FBI.
I don't understand why people are walking away from the table in the first place.
Well, because the sheriff has to ask, you know, they have the option of turning over the case, right?
Right.
If they don't turn over the case to FBI, they could turn it over, like say, here, you take the case. And in that case, the FBI takes over. They are in charge of everything. The sheriff's department is out of it, right?
Yeah.
And also the FBI will use their resources and their things. If the FBI has not taken over the case and it's still Sumner County leading the case, every resource that they use from the federal, like from Secret Service, FBI, whatever, I believe they have to pay for some of that,
Uh-huh.
I don't think they have the budget for it. I mean, that's my guess, is that some of that has to be reimbursed by the county. It's not like they're not like the FBI is not like you could pick and choose, like, oh, I want you to help me today and then I want you to go away,
Right.
It's either all or nothing kind of deal. Or it's you will use your services, but you got to pay for our flights, you got to pay for our this, you got we can't just, we're not like consultants or
right.
I mean, I don't think they have the budget for the amount of help that they really need. And
right.
What is the reason they don't turn it over there? There've been plenty of people, plenty of counties, crimes that have turned over cases to the FBI. It's been a year, why not turn it over to the FBI? Why not give them a chance?
Right.
I mean,
well,
how can it hurt?
Well, unless SCSO or certain members of SCSO have conducted themselves in a way that they could also get in trouble. Like, let's think about the sheriff. Let's think about the friend of Chris's who he called instead of calling 911.
Yeah, we still don't know who that is.
Right. Of course we don't know who that is. But if I was SCSO and I was doing some shady shit, right? I'd be worried about the FBI coming in. I'd be worried about, you know what I'm saying?
I think it could be that. It could be that. I think it could be a lot of things. It could be some of that. It could be definitely that was not appropriate for him to talk to somebody before for all that time. I think they treated him differently because of his relationship with whoever he talked to for all that time on the phone in the morning.
Right.
They didn't do what they were supposed to do that day, and not do what they were not supposed to do. And therefore there's like, I mean, but at this point it's like, I mean, yeah, that's embarrassing, but at this point everybody knows it,
Right.
I mean, although they got Nick Barris out there saying it's textbook perfect,
right,
which is ridiculous. And then that would be a good thing to ask your detective. Why not at this point after a year, call in the FBI if they have so many resources and they just don't. One detective, it's not possible. And
real quick before I forget, I did tell Julie before we came on this live, but just so you guys know, tomorrow at 10 a.m. I will be going live with Scott Snyder, the former detective. He'll be back on my channel. So if you guys have any specific questions that you do want me to ask him after this live is over, leave your questions in the comments. Okay. Because I will not be able to, I mean, it's crazy during a live.
My question, put your questions in the comments now. Because my question is, why not? What would make them? Is it ego? What is it? Why not turn it over to the FBI? And also, if you could ask if I'm correct about when they use certain resources from the FBI that they have to reimburse them. So maybe they don't use them as much as they should or could. because they have to reimburse part of it if they haven't taken over the case.
Mhm.
I mean, when I say ego, like he's a new sheriff and he wants to, be the hero. I don't know. But if you could ask him that, I'm really, really
Yeah, I
interested.
definitely will.
What else does anybody want to ask? Would you ask he's a forensic detective. It's just my opinion, but it's the only one that makes sense. No one will ever find him, quote, picture on says so much without saying a word. Yeah, and like Duper's Delight, Duper's Delight I think is really do you watch Shay's Safe Place videos?
Yeah, I've seen some.
She has a couple videos about like, Duper's Delight, like these little like, smiles, winces, and things like that, of Katie.
Yeah.
Brianna's World, thank you for letting us know about tomorrow. I will make sure I'm here. Brianna's World says.
Yep.
Sunset gazing, yes. Went poof, and the best part, he left no evidence, and he'll never be found. I love Shay's videos. And
There's actually...
Think of it like baseball. SEOC first base, TBI second base, FBI third base. SEOC is the lead and will not hand it over. What does it mean, sunset gazing?
What was I just gonna say?
Ask him what mistakes Sumner County made.
Yeah, we did cover some of those in the last time he was on, but we'll definitely we'll go over that again.
Tina Girl would like Deception Detective.
And he will. He'll go over the interviews.
Poof, he disappeared. Can you ask him about Duper's Delight? What does he know about it? I mean, it's a sort of a psychological thing, but has he ever experienced that in any of his cases?
Yeah, that we can definitely ask him that.
Kids just don't go missing without a trace.
No, they don't. Somebody knows something. And that's the thing. But that's what bothers me is...
Mary Star has a question too. Yeah, kids don't go poof without a trace. I mean, it's just...
Yeah. Ask him how we go about getting a new law passed. Okay.
How about has he seen, is he gonna what the slow down green hoodie video, any of it? And ask him what he thinks, like what's his opinion about what's going on. Is it
definitely
something, or could it be just nothing?
Well, I don't think it's nothing, because clearly that person was standing there waiting for Katie to come out of the restaurant. He knew she was at the restaurant, knew she was getting ready to come out, and then stood by her door for a while.
And they timed it. Sebastian was at his door waiting for her to open it. 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was crazy. So to come out and say, listen, that has no relevance. I'm going, what?
Yeah, Pop would love. I don't know why they didn't.
Because like I said, I don't believe this was, let's bring Sebastian's face back into the public eye. I really truly think it was more about, let's show the people how we're suffering. Right?
You ever seen parents of missing kids and they do interviews on TV and you see the mother sitting on the couch and she's holding in her hands a picture of the child.
Yeah.
While she speaks to the media. Like, you don't see any of that.
No. I think that's why Katie brought out that picture of Sebastian during Olivia's interview, because she thought that that's how a mother would portray, you know what I mean? A caring mother would portray herself, but she screwed up there. That is a crucial night. Ellie did nothing with it. I'm so confused.
She's still defending Chris. Yeah.
Of course she is.
After all that everybody knows, about my husband, and I've taken a lie detector, and my husband too. That's
See, but cops, the LE has never come out and confirmed that. Now, the least they could do is come out and confirm some of these suspicions that people have or some of these questions, but they aren't doing that.
Hi, Nicole Combs. I haven't seen that.
I saw it earlier. I'm not going to lie to you. To me, well, maybe it's just the one that I saw. I could not tell what he was looking at on his phone.
Yeah, me
so
either.
Unless people have seen a different video.
I don't know. So people are saying that she smiled at Chris. I've heard different things. What do you think? I have to go in a second, but what do you think about the status of their relationship? I mean, did you see anything?
Who, Chris and Katie?
Yeah, you think they are,
I honestly don't. Okay. I wonder, because I know there was talks of him leaving in the beginning. And then they did that. Yes, they did the hands interview where she had her wedding ring on, but he did not have his on.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't have his on in the hands interview.
Now, wait a minute. They showed them holding hands, I think.
Yeah, it was just hands the whole time because they didn't want to be seen on camera.
No, but did they show a little image of them holding hands at this interview?
No. No, I don't think so.
I felt like there was a flash of
maybe they did, but I don't know if they did. I missed it, but somebody
they were holding
hands last night.
Last night they held hands.
But in the hands interview that they did, she had her wedding ring on, but he did not. Now, last night I didn't notice whether or not he had one on.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah, towards the end. That's right. That's right, Serenity. I did notice that. I mean, I feel like it's not good, but like they're kind of, at least for him, like, I think like, they're stuck. I mean, like,
right.
Unless one turns on the other, it's
I was just going to say that. Yep.
And then also, knowing Chris, I mean, he looks like he's lost weight since the last time we saw him in court. I don't know if he felt.
Let me pull this up real quick.
And I think, I think he's gonna
but
do what he wants to do, married or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Mohawk Mom, I understand what you're saying, but he wasn't working. You know what I mean? He was at home, and he'd been at home supposedly since Sebastian went missing. So why wouldn't he have his wedding ring on, especially knowing that the whole time during the interview, all they were going to show was their hands? So I don't know.
Emily says, why has no one asked Katie about those photos she snapped at Sebastian at Texas Roadhouse and why we weren't?
Well, they did. That lady from EquiSearch said that this is what she had said, that Katie showed them the pictures that she took of Sebastian. And the reason that she took them was because Sebastian had dressing on his salad and he never eats dressing on his salad. So she wanted to snap the picture to send to his father.
Did he have salad that night?
That's what she said. That's the reason she gave for taking
his stepfather.
She said father, and that's what everybody was trying to figure out. Well, did she send him to Seth or did she send him to Chris? As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Did Seth ever say that he saw those photos?
When Seth showed up at the house, she was like, he said she came up like almost yelling at him and holding her phone, like,
right, like say he was happy.
He was happy. You know, I mean, if that
to me, that makes you look guilty. To me, that makes you look like you have something to hide. I mean, am I wrong in that?
Yeah. Oh no. And Chris did say on an interview that she sent him to him, but that's like, okay, this man is not in the house. We theorize because of the open CPS case, right? That just was, from what happened a few weeks prior when the CPS lady came to the house, right? And then in February, he's not in the house after February 5th, I think he said. Like, why, if let's just say, suppose a CPS person said, all right, Sebastian and Mr. Chris cannot stay in the house together. It's dangerous. They can't be together because, and it's more than physical abuse going on. It's psychological abuse going on as well. Right. So if they're saying, okay, someone's got to, they have to be apart. In other words, here, why would Katie send pictures of Sebastian eating his food, something that he's been highly monitored and criticized on, and badgered about, to his abuser? Why would she be the facilitator of that knowledge and abuse?
Oh, like, I don't buy it.
He's giving him but I'm saying it's wrong of her to send it, period, to him.
Right. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
For him to say, oh, she sent it to me. Oh, okay. So the person who was making his life completely intolerable and monitoring every single thing he did, you're taking these weirdo pictures of him eating when he's not looking and sending it to a person he just reported to his teachers was abusing him. Like, what kind of effed up shit is that? Sorry.
Right. No, I get it.
Like, why are you facilitating? Why are you the conduit for that kind of stuff?
Right. And again, I don't think, just to make it clear, I do not think that she sent those. I think she took those pictures for another reason, and I don't believe it was to send to anybody to prove he was eating food.
Like, if that is, I have some other theories. We'll talk about another time because they're not for today, but I do have some other theories about these things. But I appreciate you having me on so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on.
I'm gonna watch tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna actually be listening. But yeah, you said 10:30?
10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern time. Yep.
Okay, I can't wait because I really, 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 really enjoyed listening to him. He gave a lot of insight last time.
Yeah. And again, you guys, those of you in chat, because I'm not going to remember all of these questions that you put in here, and I don't have live replay on. So when this live gets done, make sure you come and drop any questions that you have in the comments of this video, okay? Of this live when it's done.
Yeah.
Because I will not remember.
It was bruising on his neck, you thought. How is Seth and Katie's relationship?
Well, don't seem very good.
I don't think there is any.
Seth will be live tonight at 7 p.m. on his channel.
Oh, he will?
Yep, at 7 p.m. tonight on his channel.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Okay, so we got Seth tonight, and I think Mob Crew's going to be on tonight later too, maybe at 8 or 9. And they'll be going over that video that SF put out. Yep.
And I won't do it today because me and Julie got to talking so much, but I do want to go over the web sleuth, so I might just do that later today.
I forgot.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I got to watch that myself.
Yeah, but I'll do that later today.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. I
always enjoy talking to you.
Oh, thank you.
Talk to you guys later.
All right. I'll see you later. Yeah. So I just think one of the major things here that people really need to keep focus on is that we have to figure out how Sebastian would have gotten out of that house if he ever made it back there that night. Okay? Because it makes no sense. He didn't just poof, vanish into thin air. He didn't. But he's not seen on camera anywhere. If that light video is, and again, I have a few theories, which I've discussed on my past videos, of what I think possibly happened to Sebastian. I do hold out hope that he is still alive out there somewhere. But I do have a few working theories that are all plausible. But it's just so hard without any confirmation or any from Ellie. Ellie is not coming out and saying anything. They're not, the only thing they have come out and debunked basically is the video that SF just put out. So that to me does say something. And that was immediately one of my first things when I saw that SF put that video out. And for those of you that didn't follow me before and you just found me in the Sebastian case, SF worked a previous case that I was working on as well. And that was the Kylie Rodney case. And he did the same exact thing. So many people were, all the YouTubers, all the true crimers, everybody, so many people were going, with the facts that we all had. And then all of a sudden SF comes out, puts out this video, and boom, half of almost all of the YouTube creators, almost all of the people that were invested in her case just dropped off because they believed the crap that SF put out. And even though it was debunked by many people, that video, it still went with it. So this is what he does. So I just want people to keep that in mind. Okay. Some of you, I don't know if you followed me since the very first time I picked up this case, but I still believe that there's something to do with a wooden trunk. I believe Sebastian was put into this trunk, whether he be sleeping or not, but I do think he was, and that was then he was put into another vehicle and transported somewhere. Like, I just think that there is a chest for whatever reason that plays a part in this. And then I found out that Chris's family actually makes these wooden chests. So I do think that there is something to that. But again, I have a lot of working theories. Thank you, Tiffany. There's still not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. I still talk about her all the time. If she can get a tattoo, why can't she be out there looking for Sebastian is my question. Yeah. Yeah, he did. SF also took credit for finding her, and he did not find her. Just to make that clear. A group of YouTubers, Adventures with Purpose, actually found her. No, Tina girl. What she did was get into her car at 6:30 in the morning or 6:20 in the morning and drive to the school, which makes absolutely no freaking sense. No sense that she would go and drive by the school. It's not even like here's the thing. She's like, oh, well, we thought he could have possibly went to school. Really? Then how come you drove to the school and didn't get your ass out of the car and walk in the school to go check? How come you just drove through the parking lot like a lunatic? If you really thought that there's a possibility that he had gotten up, gotten dressed, walked to school, why wouldn't you have gotten out of there and gotten out of your car and going and checked the school then? It's bull. It is bull, and I don't buy it. Yes, he does ride a bus. This is what I'm saying. Her story from day one, from the very first minute, is bullshit. Oh, well, thank you, Tiffany. Miss having you in here. He was a YouTuber, Nicole. He was that just randomly popped up out of nowhere, by the way. I was sketchy about him too, though. Exactly. She didn't stop. So I don't buy any of it. And I really, truly think that the only reason they did that interview was to try to get people off their back, to try to get people to feel sympathy for them. And I just don't. All right, you guys. So please, I'm about to end this live. Make sure you leave any comments you have for Scott in the comment section of this live. Okay. And make sure you come and you're here at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we'll discuss all of this, the things and all the questions that we have. And with Scott being former law enforcement and having 20-year experience being in law enforcement, in all different kinds of aspects of law enforcement, I think is really helpful. Yes, thank you, D. Libby. There is still hope. Oh, good Lord. Thank you, Nicole. All right, so let me hear you guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for being here. Please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you have not done so already. All right, I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light, and I will see you all next time. Spam the comment section with your green hearts for Sebastian, because that's what this is about.